and welcome along to day 4 of the 2023 World Cup of Pool. The sun is very much shining here in Lugo as round 2 continues. The Philippines started the week strong, knocking David Alcaide and Francisco Sanchez Ruiz out of the competition. The remaining Spanish team of Jose Alberto, Delgado and Jonas Souto are out for revenge. Second to the table this afternoon, we've got 3-time World Cup winners China looking to book their spot in the quarterfinals as they play Singapore. And our third match this session sees Niels Feyen and Mark Bijsterbosch of the Netherlands against the supremely talented co-brothers of Chinese Taipei. So plenty to look forward to this afternoon here in Lugo, with 6 of 8 spots remaining in the next round of the competition. Last night, round 2 got underway as 2 teams booked their quarter-final berths. Here's what happened.
What a difference a round made for Besar Sparhu and Albania. In their opening match, Sparhu sparkled. Last night he struggled as the Albanians, led by UK Open champion Eklund Kaci, dropped the closing 5 racks in succumbing 7-3 against Poland, the first team to reach the quarterfinals. Viktor Zielinski and Konrad Jezushin would soon be joined in the tournament's elite last 8 by double-pass champions Austria. Having narrowly scrambled by Australia in the first round, Albin Ashen and Mario He enjoyed a much more comfortable passage against Bosnia and Herzegovina. 7-3 was the final scoreline there also.
So, Poland and Austria through to the quarters. The big question that we will answer today is who will be joining them there tomorrow. Well, alongside me are Jeremy Jones and Carl Boys. Good to have you with me as always, gents. I mean, let's just take a look back at yesterday evening, Jeremy, as round 2 got started and we saw the same scoreline twice. 7-3 for Poland, 7-3 to Austria, which was perhaps a more commanding margin of victory, particularly for Austria, than we'd seen in round 1. What's changed?
Well, I think Austria played a little better. You know, every team has that question mark player, whether it be inexperience, maybe a hair out of form. And unfortunately for the 2 teams that lost last night, that question mark kind of showed up. They'll be back. It's a tough setting. A little unfortunate for those teams, but the others moved on.
From what we've seen so far, Carl, have we got more of a sense of sort of the competition and then the level that Poland and Austria are bringing? Because let's not forget as well that we started this World Cup on Tuesday. We only finished the Spanish Open on Sunday. So was there perhaps a little bit of fatigue in those early matches that maybe showed through?
I think it's just a case of the fact that the opening 2 rounds are raced to 7, so that can be quite scary for the top pros who play pool. They all know they've got to get through to the quarters where it's a race to 9. That's when you can just relax a little bit more. If you make a few early errors, you can forget about it because you've got more chance of coming back. I think that's all. And if you look at Austria last night, in the first round, Mario carried the team. Then last night, Albin carried the team, and that's what they did in the 2 previous years. They won it, you know, they always sort of took turns, and that's why they're such a good team. Yeah,
that is what makes for a strong World Cup winning duo. They're looking to win it for the 3rd time. Let's confirm the order of play for you this afternoon. This is, of course, round 2. We're kicking things off, as we mentioned, with Spain. Don't forget, there were 2 Spanish teams that started the competition. There's just 1 Spanish duo remaining, and the crowd are very much looking forward to their match against the Philippines. It's also China against Singapore and Chinese Taipei against the Netherlands. Then this evening, we've got Great Britain against Vietnam and the 2 top seeds, Germany and USA, taking on Canada and Japan. So first up on the table this afternoon, we've got Spain. They're no longer Spain B, they're just Spain now, against the Philippines, Jeremy. I mean, we know these fans are here for a big Spanish performance. We know Jose Alberto and Jonas are looking pretty relaxed, looking pretty confident.
Yeah, absolutely. I think them and the Americans kind of look the most comfortable out there. Now, both had pretty comfortable wins, so we'll see what happens with a little adversity.
Yeah, there they are warming up at the table. Worth mentioning as well that the Spanish duo were also dancing during their warm-ups as we walked over here this morning. That was them the other night. It was a huge party atmosphere here. Carl, I know we've sort of mentioned that teams are getting more comfortable, that race to 7, it is really short, but when there's a spot in the quarter-finals on the line and we're not that far from the final, it's on Sunday, is the pressure going up a notch now we're in round 2?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously they've got the home crowd here. There's a few here. It's going to get noisy. The Filipino young guns, you know, they're class. They're the future of the sport in 9-ball from the Philippines. But the crowd have got to get behind Spain just like they will. And they've got to just take the chances. I thought they played great in the opening round.
Yeah, they certainly did. Right, shall we get things underway here this afternoon? It is the Philippines against Spain.
Hello, Rainbow Pool fans, and welcome to Lugo, Spain, where Matro Multisport and Galicia Pool Association are presenting the 2023 World Cup of Pool. Round 2, elimination matches, race to 7 racks. And for the first match of the day, we have a special receipt, because you will see a superhero and a god from the Olympus playing together in the same team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the arena Dodong Diamond, James Aranas, and Badkoi, Johan, Chua for Team Philippines.
Mas damo magagandang dalaga, nakakagigil ang beauty mo talaga. Lambing hindi nakakasawa, ikaw lang ang gusto makasama. Yung bahay o kubo, pag-ibig mo ay totoo. Puso ko'y laging kumikibo, wala kang katulad sa mundo. Pinay kasigaw na.
And now what home fans were waiting for. Let's hear it for Batman, Jose Alberto, Delgado, and Zeus, Jonas, Souto for Team Spain.
Y siempre la recordará, que viva España. La gente canta con ardor, que viva España. La vida tiene otro sabor y España es la mejor. En las tardes soleadas de corrida, la gente aclama al viento fervor.
I think it's safe to say that the Spanish duo are very much enjoying and appreciating the home support, as are Jeremy Jones and Michael McMullen in commentary.
And I thought Spanish people went for a siesta in the middle of the day. Wide awake here in Lugo and ready to play their part, they hope, in sweeping the host nation in to the last 8. But whatever the lineup, whatever the year, Jeremy, the Philippines are always a strong force in the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're kind of known for everything in the pool world around the world. And 2 of the young stars here with Johan, Chua, and James Aranas. Of course, 2 young ones over there for Spain as well. Comina, Souto, and Delgado.
Thank you. It's the first rack. Team Philippines to break.
It remains a race to 7. The winners will play Britain or Vietnam in the quarters tomorrow.
Wow, it's amazing. We've seen that several times where the one catches the point. A very nice break off, though. You could see kind of the explosion of the rack. And what a start here for Team Philippines. You know, it doesn't really matter the first game. You can kind of miss any opener. But this kind of shot here, you got to figure it's going to be pretty good. Should just stop his ball. Take on the shot on the red 3 up in the corner. I could move it over for a little better position.
The Philippines pair are both 31 years of age. You might be surprised to hear their world ranking positions. Aranas at 74, Chua at 82. But a lot of that is down to inactivity. And we've seen from both of them in recent weeks and months how good they really are.
Yeah, I think both kind of fit the same bill, really. No weaknesses in the game. You can tell. You can tell at times the nerves can get flowing with both the Filipino players, and I think we saw it right there. Little short through impact.
Yeah, and I think we saw that with Aranas, even when he had that great run at the World Masters. He throws in a moment like that quite regularly, and that's something the Spanish pair will have to pick up on.
Yeah, and it's funny, we have certain players that, you know, we kind of come to realize they're just going to live with the nerves. And
extension called.
James seems like one of those players when he starts the match a bit more. Has figured out a way to perform through those nerves, though, so that's huge. Difficult shot here to open for Spain. And already a bit more communication than we saw from them in round one.
Well, that's it. It was debut time for both of them, and they'll have learned a lot about the practicalities, gone away and figured out how to do things second time out.
I like him shooting here. These thin cuts, I think you got to be comfortable trying to play them. I think it was me and Carl, maybe a couple different players that, you know, when you can see a reward and you're in a bad position already, some of those big shots you really got to go for. And now Chua, we'll see what he decides to play and how he cues the ball. Hitting down on it, though, so he's either kind of dragging it, put the cue ball behind the 9, or maybe even going for the long rail bank. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. You have to be prepared to knock some shots in. And I think we're going to see more of that as we move through the tournament.
Especially when you're coming in as the outsider, which the Spanish pair are. You might be limited in terms of the opportunities you get, and particularly early on in the match, you've got to send a message. So they've made their decision, and it could end up costing them the opening rack here.
Yeah, and still a little tentative there from James, and you could see as he walked away, he wasn't so happy with that one. Should have been a little easier here on the purple 5. And I'll tell you what it is with those big shots. It's, of course, when you don't like the safety, right? The gamble is on the safety just as much as the shot. That's one point. But then also you got to evaluate the match. Sometimes you have to bury a big shot to try and turn things around. And these races of 7 sometimes don't show us those situations quite enough. But after this, it'll be a race to 9 from the quarters, and then the semis, and then a race to 11 in the final. It seems like to me, Johan's the type that, of course, not been out in as many events as we would like, and I think that's going to change. But he's one that starts with nerves, but he's able to settle them quickly, it seems.
Team Philippines wins.
And with that, Philippines lead by 1 rack to 0. Such a successful nation in the World Cup. They missed it last year due to travel issues, but they've been involved in every World Cup. Now you can see 3-time winners. That's a joint record along with China. And coincidentally, considering who they're up against today, Philippines are the only nation to have a B team that ended up winning the World Cup. That was back in 2009 in their host country. But it was Reyes and Bustamante. Not a bad B team, Jeremy.
Yeah, pretty good. And I don't know how they were the B team, to be fair, but they're always going to be the class when it comes to the Philippines, whether it's now, 20 years ago, 100 years from now, it seems. The Philippines, they're
break, leading by 1 rack to 0.
They're a team, if you've ever been there to play pool, and such a huge sport, they'll have some 40, 50 people around the table, not far. So different situations, and the masses of the people don't really bother them too much. Great break off here. And probably a safety coming behind the 2-ball. You never know, though, after seeing his partner knocking a big bank shot. The 1 does go to the lower right.
Aranas was an invitation for the World Masters last month. Got within a couple of racks of the final, lost to Ko Pin-Yi, the eventual winner. He'd beaten Sanchez Ruiz along the way.
Really nice, especially if the 1 gets past the 8, cutting off the jump. So that'll settle them. The soft ones sometimes settle you a little quicker than the firmer shots. Gonna need a swerve on the cue ball here. Getting to the side rail. Not sure if the 1 plays by the purple 5 at all. If it does, it's tight.
Extension, please.
Yeah, it looks like the 1 does not go, so very difficult situation here. I think I'd like to come across this kind of slowly, hoping that the 5 holds the 1 ball. Maybe the cue ball just ends up on the end rail. You're trying to survive right here on this shot. Oh, really good. Really good. And your first stroke at the table there for Delgado, and a big one with the swerve. And we'll see what Johan wants to play here. Something mild coming behind the 8, letting the 1 just drift 1 rail past the 9. This has gotten away a little bit. I think it did get the snooker, though. Well, maybe not. It's a good look, so definitely an edge is open. Well, that's really good. And I'll tell you, both these players have a huge advantage. They hang out with, you know, Al-Kaidi and Fran, who are 2 of the best tactical players on earth. They definitely pick up a lot from those 2 champions.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Austrian contingent. Used to be always Al-Kaidi and FSR you'd see hanging around together. Now these guys have joined the group and been welcomed into it.
Yeah, but to have such control of the object ball on the 1 and having to manipulate the cue ball upstairs by the red 3, and this one shouldn't be kicked too hard. Oh, really good. So both teams have come to play here, trying to make that corner final. I think the jump stroke here, the jump shot, trying to maybe bank this in. If anything leaves some distance. Oh, he can see it. Gonna hit the 8. And what they're kind of banking on there is, again, distance, right? But you see the red 3 and the brown 7 kind of covered up. Now that may get moved a little bit here on this shot. You may see Chua, who is a very aggressive player, go for the combination.
Chua has been to a World Cup quarter-final before with Carlo Biado in London 6 years ago. Knocked out Qatar and the Netherlands before going down to China.
Oh, really sweet. He's come with 2 big shots here in the first 2 games, and how sweet it is for so many countries. Not all of them, of course, but you know, if you get the call that you're one of the players in the World Cup, right? And you're Filipino, you don't even have to ask who you're playing with, and you're going to be okay.
Philippines were the winners of the first ever World Cup 17 years ago in Wales. was also Efren Reyes and Francisco Bustamante. Beat the American pair of Earl Strickland and Rodney Morris. Then there was that B team success. It's 10 years now since their last win. Dennis Rocolio and Lee van Corteza just edging out the Dutch pair of Fine and Vandenberg.
A little more direction than I saw before. Here, Chua really taking the lead. Thought he'd just try to hold this for the natural angle on the pink to swing the cue ball, but he's going to draw the ball, getting a little heavier, and if he falls straight, this could become a little tricky. He overcut that a bit, so maybe that's why the cue ball kind of leaked a little more to the right. May have to draw short side here on the purple. Oh, he's going forward, so. How comfortable is Chua here early? Very, very impressive. Long combination here in this game. Long rail bank in game number 1. Now that shot there, which most players try to avoid, that top running spin on a very full hit on the object ball. Speaking of hits, this is going into the 8. Oh, he was able to hit it with outside English.
They're piecing this together nicely. Looking focused, determined, and very sharp so far. The Philippines have won the first couple of racks. So Spain 2-0 down. Well, let's hear from these two young players.
In round 1 against Saudi Arabia, it was great to see like all our crowd, like the way they were cheering for us. It was very amazing.
It was incredible with our people, our crowd, a lot of Spanish people supporting us. They are there because we are playing, you know. So we made something for them and them make something for us.
We didn't know what to expect because it was first round, first tournament like this for us. But I think we did it pretty well, so everything worked. We hope the same for the next round.
It's gonna be a tough game against Philippines. Of course, we know them. They are good players. They are super good. But it's okay. We're gonna play our best, and we can do it.
We try to take the revenge.
Vendetta.
Thank you, the third rack. Team Philippines.
Wonderful scenes there from Wednesday night.
2-0.
But they've already lost more racks in this match than they did in the entirety of that first round contest against Saudi Arabia. The Philippines lead 2-0.
A little low with the cue ball. Good strike, though, overall. Now in a bad position in the push-out. If you're new to 9-ball pool, the incoming team, whether it be the breakers or, like I said, the incoming team off of a dry break, after the break shot, you have an option called the push-out. You have to declare it, and then you can push the cue ball anywhere you want on the table. You can contact another ball if you want.
Push-out called.
And then the incoming team has the option to either take the shot or pass it back. Seems like it's always a big part in big moments.
Team Spain, it's your choice, please.
Well, I remember the first time I ever saw the game on television in 1987 and seeing Steve Miserak do a push-out, and I'd never heard of it. I was literally just completely new to the game. I thought he'd taken leave of his senses for a moment.
Play again.
So yeah, it is something that you need to get used to when you start watching the game, but always a fascinating thing to look at the psychology and what is the player thinking here, and then what's the other player thinking in his decision about playing or passing.
I'll tell you, he snookered himself and now has to play a very nice kick shot. And Spain did the right thing passing this. Wow. Wow. And that's what I meant about the other day with the slick table. Your club table, you couldn't stop the cue ball so well when the object ball's so far from the end rail, but these players recognize on the slick felt. And you notice he didn't really even overhit the ball that much. How good is Chua? He got some sleep last night.
Ya, pero la blanca la dejo aquí.
¿La dejas ahí justo?
Sí.
Yeah. Used to know a little Spanish, but couldn't tell you what they're talking about here. But I think it's something like just bump the one past the 3-9, kind of use the black 8 to hold the cue ball. We'll see if he tries to roll the ball. That would be, yeah, that looks like where he's going. He's cueing right English. Interesting. That's very good. I thought maybe he would play it a little thicker, but still the cue ball on the rail, so nothing easy.
Philippines missed last year, but they've played in all of the other 14 World Cups. And only ever once has the Philippines A team failed to get to this stage. Even then, they were just a rack away from reaching the second round. And all 4 times they've had a B team they've got through. So out of the 18 times a Philippines team has played in the World Cup, 17 of them, they've made it to this stage. If you keep clearing the first hurdle like that, chances are you'll have a lot of success.
Yeah, and they have to stay patient because the Philippines have brought their game early and really no mistakes. That red 3 ball up at the corner from Aranas, but kind of got away with it. And again, this part of the game, these two hanging out with Fran and David, got to figure him to be pretty good 2 rails behind this ball. Oh, he caught it thin. He's going to need some help. I'd say overall probably just hit it a little light. Let the cue ball spread a little more off the second rail and didn't get the contact on the one he wanted. Okay, looks like trying to just pull this out gently. He may come across between the 5 and the 2. Coming twice across, so very comfortable.
Walang pitika, pektus lang. Basta pa, basta mo lang 5. Dito na yan. Pektus lang konti. Konting-konti lang. Kunin mo lang to.
It shows you how comfortable these two are as well, because James taking a lot of direction from Johan here in this second match.
You've been to the Philippines, Jeremy. What would you say about where the game stands in terms of its popularity there in relation to other sports? How high up the list does it come there?
Well, it's way up there. I think basketball is still the number 1, you know, and I think boxing, of course, took a big climb with Pacquiao and whatnot. He's a big pool fan and hosts a couple tournaments. A very good player, actually, also. But it's huge. First time I went there for about 3 weeks, maybe a month, did a lot of exhibitions. And you wouldn't believe the amount of people would show up for an exhibition. And it was like almost 15,000 one time at a mall. We were playing a Scotch doubles event, me and Johnny Archer playing Bustamante and Efren. And, you know, they just flock to the pool players. They love it. Of course, Efren, he's like a hero. He's a man of the people.
So fair to say it's probably bigger there than any other country in the world?
Well, you know, very heavily populated Manila area, so it's very huge there. And of course, some other countries it's huge. It's just so concentrated right there, right? So they love their 9-ball.
The extension, please.
And they will love if this 9-ball goes down a little harder than you ideally would have wanted. The Philippines are looking very good in the early stages here. And swiftly they've moved into a 3-0 lead. Everywhere you've looked in Lugo over the last couple of weeks, you see pool players on every corner. They were here for the Spanish Open last week. Now, it's the World Cup of Pool, and Philippines are off to a flyer here in this second round match. First up on day 4, they lead the host nation, represented now by their B team by 3 racks to 0.
Thank you, guys.
Macarena playing in the arena. A moment ago, it was We Will Rock You. Well, 3 times, Philippines have ended up singing We Are the Champions at the end of a World Cup of Pool. And they're looking good here. Chua to break.
Yeah, just really no weakness from this Filipino team, and a big shot. A little bit of a tester on the 2s. Got to get into the cue ball bit. But you can see the red 3 playable with the pink 4 near. So this is the starter to maybe take a 4-0 lead.
And the Spanish pair must be looking at this and thinking, we've not really done anything wrong here.
Yeah, they just kind of been handcuffed. The one mistake from the Philippines to miss 3. They elected to play safe. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Are they going to get something to look at? They are. That's why you have to stay patient. And even if you're not winning games, keep trying to execute, because you're going to get a chance to win some games.
Every time you say the Philippines team have no weakness, they miss a ball into that pocket. That's twice it's happened now. 2 for 2, as you Americans would say.
Yeah, now a lot of what they did, which was running out in round number 1, they have a good opportunity. And now making a decision on maybe not just this shot, but who wants to take on a shot later. Looks like they have to kind of draw past the 7 and then get 2 rails around that 3-4 grouping. One thing is, if they have to pull the ball at all, oh, he's hitting a high ball, so he should be okay. Going to say you don't want to catch the pink. Now he's going to leave a bit of a tester here, and a little alarming he ended up short. Couple reasons. The real work in the rack is from the 4 to the 5. Shouldn't have been this difficult on the 3, and Comina really hadn't got to shoot at anything yet. Very good young player, and had a nice win in America this year. He's a very confident kind of guy around the table, and you got to believe that's the type of attitude you have to be a champion. And this is what I was talking about. That's why getting on the 3 a little suspect in a little suspect manner now has made very difficult proposition getting from the 4 to the 5.
Delgado, the older of the pair, 29 years of age, ranked number 40 in the world. And that has really lit up this second round match. A very swift win in rack 4. Spain off and running. It's 3-1.
And Delgado recognizing he's going to go into the 9. A little fortunate to make it, but did draw the position, carrying the cue ball off the 9 up for the purple 5. So quick win, but was probably going to happen anyways.
Yeah, the crowd, I think, were a little subdued compared to the way they were in the first match, but that could change things now. You see there that 7-1 win over debutant Saudi Arabia in the first round. Really lifted the mood of the crowd here after last year's winners, FSR and Al-Qaeda, had gone out.
Yeah, and speaking of those Spanish fans, they've been awesome here for some 10-11 days of pool, and you know, very respectful as well. You saw them applauding the Filipino team with some nice pool in the opening 3 games.
So Spain's first break of the match.
Okay, the 2's going to carry up table, making the 1 on the side. Still wants to get some kind of look. Would rather play a safety than the push out. Easy kick shot, it looks like, to get to the top rail. Kick and kind of stick the cue ball there, sending the 2 to the side rail and then down below the pile near the racking end.
Sí, me gusta. Lo que no me gusta es que va muy cerca del
Si lo
centro.
metemos, terminamos.
Pretty hard to make a mistake with this kick shot for this level, besides the two ball catching the jaws there on the right middle, maybe even going in and snookering Spain on the red 3. Got past those jaws, and a nice play there. Now Johan should be able to handle this and return the favor here with a little kick and stick. What happens when why you see a high ball make the cue ball stop here, Michael, is once the cue ball comes off the rail, it doesn't turn over, right? It's still got top English coming the other way, which in turn turns into kind of a bottom spin coming off that rail so quickly.
Yo creo que la había hasta para meterla, ¿eh?
Little protection here with the pocket blocked, even if they did give a little look.
Si no me juego un kick. No, me la puedo jugar a venir aquí.
Jugate a meterla y traer a Blanca aquí.
¿Dónde? Extension.
Extension call.
¿Por dónde la traigo?
Y ya dos bandas.
Sí, pero no llego aquí.
Yeah, this is difficult here.
Yo me la juego, tío.
Kind of like just running the cue ball, I think, as best you can off the left edge of the 2 and try and get it back behind the 6-9. You can't really control the 2 entirely. It's all about the cue ball. He's just taking his chances. And remember, we talked about this before. Anytime you're playing a shot like that and you're not sure about the snooker, it's all about the rail speed with the cue ball. You want the cue ball to rest on this bottom rail. That way, if you do give a look, it's not only going to be a tougher shot, but very hard to work the cue ball. And now he's got the bottom end. He's got choices. A shot that James excels at going forward on the full hit. Yeah, you just kind of feel the arc of the cue ball, and it's going to take its path appropriately.
Johan Chua has been around for quite a while. 9 years ago he got to the quarterfinals of the World Championship. He won the All Japan Championship the year after that and won it again a couple of years later. So a lot of experience.
Yeah, a very good player at a young age, and we're all a little selfish when it comes to the Filipino players. We want to see him more, but Chua, a big-time family man and loves his home country.
The extension, please.
Gotta believe all eyes back in the Philippines are on this match. And 2 of the players to really kind of carry the torch for the next 20 years. And more coming, by the way. Oh, that pocket has gotten James a few times. You could see he never really kind of got totally still with the body, too, before he pulled off the stroke.
I think everyone watching in places like Manila is probably saying, please stop Jeremy from saying nice things about the Philippines players when they're trying to pot something in that pocket. You've got a curse on them.
Yeah. Tell you, it's really the only player that has made some mistakes is James so far. Oh, this is a huge mistake getting this close to the ball. Now, it may not cost him, but definitely a lot more stress. I think he's got to play. I mean, you can play it both ways, but I kind of like the high ball cutting the 5 by the 7 in the lower right and run the cue ball a couple rails up for the 6. He's playing. Oh, he's playing it safe. He's chipping it. So good, well done. But you know, the Philippines, a little, you know, breath of fresh air, really, to be able to get back to the table, snookered or not. Now, when the adrenaline's going, you have to remind yourself the Rassen jumps a little easier. And if he's trying to cut this in the side, wow. Johan Chua has come to play. I think the 6 does play, Michael, by the 9, up by the 8 in the upper left. Big shot for James. I'd like to roll this, I think, and go into the 9.
And suddenly this 5th rack has opened up for them.
Yeah, well, that's the stat you know, we really don't keep track of, and it's a hard one to gauge, but, you know, a lot of the Spain players or fans even might say, well, he jumped the ball in after we played safe. Well, no, he jumped the ball in after you had to play safe, failing to get position on the purple 5. It's those little things that really make the tournament winners.
Exactly. One thing leads to another. Very often you can trace a shot back to 2 or 3 shots earlier. Big rack this, the way it's played out. Spain had the chance to build on the little bit of momentum they generated with the combination in the previous rack. It's been extinguished by their own mistake, really, in the long run. And Philippines are 3 ahead once again at 4-1. Now, let's hear what they had to say before the start.
It was fantastic. We didn't really expect to win, but we just came there to, you know, to give our best, and it worked.
It was a big game for us, beating the defending champion. I was not playing really good that time, but good thing my partner, he was very comfortable on the table, so I was leaning on him.
It's a bit awkward to play Spain again in the round 2, but you know, that's the way it is. That's the draw, and you know, we just have to give our best again and try to, you know, beat all the way.
I have very confident with my partner that we have a big shot to win the whole thing.
It will be more exciting because we're getting close. You know, each match it's you know, once we reach the quarterfinals, I think it's anybody's game. So this round is very important for us.
Spain have played in all 15 previous stagings of the World Cup. They've only made it to the quarterfinals on 3 occasions. All of those within the last few years. They're going to have to really start turning things around here if they're to feature in the last 8 this time. It's 4-1 to the Philippines.
Yeah, and you talk about big shots again, and, you know, the shot selection and the decision to play safe there. You know, that 5 ball, even though it was tough, it was definitely a playable shot offensively, and it had 2 different pockets to choose from. So maybe if Spain, given the opportunity, will reflect on some of those and make a different decision coming down the end.
Is it something that a partnership would have a discussion about before the match and make a policy and say, okay, well, let's err on the side of caution in this match? Or are they decisions you make when you're at the table?
You know, I think there's kind of MOs when it comes to players, right? Kind of like, you know, if I imagine Skylar and Shane, because I know them much better than any of the other teams, and I kind of feel like they'd both say, hey, we got to shoot at this. And now there's a little difference. You know, if the scoreline can tell you something a little differently. But for Spain, I don't think they were in that position. You know, the Philippines were up 4-1 and come across. They could say, hey, this team maybe struggling, hadn't got to shoot it a lot. Maybe we don't take a chance there because we're up 3 games. So it does vary from team to team, I think. But, you know, I think solid is the one word that two players will agree to prior to a match. Let's just try and play solid. No, nothing silly.
Delgado had a big week at the European Open, semi-finals last year.
Team Philippines, please play again.
Hasn't done a huge amount since then. pushed Shane Van Bonen hard in that semi-final. As Philippines back at the table.
Okay, watch this pretty shot. If he's up on the 3-2 rails killing the ball, this is the shot you must learn on the slick table, and a bit of a roll there.
Yeah, that run Delgado had in Germany last year. Beat some very good players on the way, as you need to get to a semi-final. Mark Bijsterbosch, who so nearly won the Spanish Open here last weekend. There's also a Hill quarter-final against
extension, please.
Mieszko Fortunski.
A ver, si quieres podemos darle flojita e intentar de pase bola que la blanca venga aquí y la dos allí, pero el 4...
Lo único que se me ocurre es floja, intentar dejarlas allí, pero...
¿Qué va? Yo le doy fuerte, dale fuerte y ya está.
Vale.
A subir a la bola y listo.
Taking a lot of time here, and I think the kick shot, you can see a little sliver on the 2, but not really much to do with it. So I've got to take a little roll here, little gamble, roll the dice. Not going to be too disappointed overall. Now this is where, you know, Team Philippines has a little more of a decision here, right? A little more options, you may say, at 4-1. May chop the right side of this and run the cue ball kind of back where it's at now and try to place the 2 underneath the 3.
The extension, please.
And James saying, I like it. So they're going to attack. Key to this, right, especially if you're struggling, is don't try to be so accurate. Of course, you're going to aim, but you got to let the stroke out a little bit.
Sí, yo creo que entra sin problema. ¿No metas?
La toca apretar lo máximo posible, ¿eh?
Sí.
No hace falta.
No, intentan apretarla. Solo retrocede un poco.
Camino hasn't had that big long run in a matchroom event that Delgado's had, but he's definitely achieved more overall consistency at this sort of level than his partner.
Yeah, really good. And, you know, with the shot clock and the communication with the teams, you know, one thing that makes you not see the moment or feel the moment so much is your process, right? What you do prior to getting down on the ball, you know, your little steps that we all have. And you have to make sure you still have time and you're still going through that process. That's kind of what makes you forget about a few kind of scary things out there. And a big moment here for Spain. A little short with the cue ball there. So with the black 8, very difficult, and maybe an even more difficult shot coming on the purple 5. Does he have to track this up and down the table with some speed? May have to involve the 2 short cushions here. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Oh, he could go with a little outside spin, and this is what I was talking about. Just because of that so-so position on the pink, the purple has become very difficult. Let's see how still he stays.
Don't like to say it, Jeremy, but I feel they're both being a bit stifled by the occasion here. What do you think?
Yeah, and, you know, open the show. Let's see how they go with adversity. The one thing I see, and they haven't really had a lot of misses, really, just a little minor mistakes, is I see a ton more communication. And, you know, with what you might have saw as an easy win, you know, and you might say, yeah, they were the favorites there in their first match and played great. I would lean on what their kind of rhythm around the table as a unit were, right? And they had some communication, but it wasn't near as much as we've seen here in round 2.
So quite simply, why change a winning formula? Even if you are facing a much higher level of opposition this time, what works, works.
Yeah, and they always say it's a game you want to try to play by yourself, right? When you're out there. I don't mean that as far as your partner, but just ignoring the team you're playing.
So again, the Spanish pair had the chance and have not made it count. Philippines moving close to victory now. They need 2 more for a place in the last 8. It's 5-1. This is Lugo, this is Spain. But the host country's involvement in this World Cup could be over in a few minutes' time. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz and David O'Cady, the pair who won it last year, went out in the opening match against the Philippines. And that same pairing of James Aranas and Johan Chua are now looking to put paid to the prospects of the Spain B team. And they're well on top here. It's now 5-1. They need a couple more to go through.
Do you think you can switch it off, please?
Okay, a dry break. Coming off the commercial break as well. Spain hopefully got away from the table a little bit, got to clear their head, just hoping for another opportunity, and here it is, Michael.
Yeah, the two of them walked out of the arena together to go and regroup. First dry break of the match from either team.
Touchy little shot. I don't like rolling it myself, but if you hit it a certain way with draw, you could make both the 1 and the 8. Double kiss, a little friendly double kiss.
Donde quieras. Sí, mira, si te puedes venir aquí yo creo que es más fácil, ¿no? ¿No te gusta más? Todo eso me vale.
You know, like this direction, drawing up the right side rail. Now he needs to get to at least about the side pocket to make things relatively easy on his partner. That's nice. It got off the rail as well.
Just looking back over the years, whenever a country has had an A team and a B team, which has happened every year except the inaugural World Cup, when one team goes further than the other, actually more often than not, it's been the B team.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on those #1 teams. Okay, confident stroke there. And, you know, been in this situation before, and of course not the World Cup, but some doubles, of course, Mosconi, different things. And, you know, when you're down and, you know, depending on the personalities and how well you know each other, which these two are very comfortable. Oh, my. Yeah, I don't know if I would have gambled there. I know an angle on the pink was nice, but certainly don't want awkward cueing in a big moment. But what I was getting at is you may leave during the break or talk during the break and say, heck with it. We're going from here. We're going to go offensive. We're going to go down shooting at these guys.
The extension, please.
Much as we said earlier, when you were talking about the consultation between the players, why change what works? Equally so, if what you're doing isn't working, you've got to try something different. Especially in a situation like this, so close to going out of the tournament.
Well, these two are very smart players as well, and they recognize that they had some options to either play safe or go attack. In the early part of the match, the safety hasn't gotten them much. Oh, my. Oh, fluky.
Oh, wow.
Team Spain wins 2-1.
Well, could that be the moment that changes the course of this? They were trying to do things differently. You can go as attacking as you want. It doesn't always work, but a bit of good fortune, that will never let you down when it comes your way. So, Philippines produce the first dry break of the match, and they end up losing the rack. The crowd starting to look a bit despondent. It's shaken them up a bit.
Well, you can tell they're pressing kind of like Spain, right? They're sweating every shot. I think that movement from the 3 on the cue ball almost got them. But the Spanish pool gods are here in this match. Let's see if they can get a ball down and a shot after the break.
Look how eager Delgado was to get to the table.
To break, trailing 5-2.
Just wanting not to let go of that momentum for even a second. He's the one player we've not seen breaking yet.
Okay, the 2 is going to open. I think it does go by the 6. A little bit of an awkward angle, and the reason why that is if he's straight, he's fine. He can draw back. If he's got more angle, he can move it easily to the rail and over. This is kind of sits in between. So when the nerves are going, very easy to overcut this ball trying to move the cue ball.
Si te vienes muy aquí, podemos meter el 8 también.
Si voy ahí, perfecto.
He's going with a high ball, so comfortable. Yeah, that's the shot. When you're trying to move it, it cuts a little easier, and you saw him just barely overcut it to the right knuckle, if you're the player. Yeah, I think he's telling him. Johan said he's going to play from here. He's drawing the cue ball for a position as well. This is a long rail bank maybe, or is he trying to stick him behind the 6? Okay, trying to stick him. He may have fluked this. Maybe a gap. Don't think so. But
Jugate el 8. ¿Puedes jugarte el 8? ¿Y una banda?
El 8, sí.
¿Y una banda?
Sí, sí. Un trick shot.
Pégale fuerte. A ver, no sé. ¿Ves la vez bien o no?
Sí, sí, sí. ¿Qué otra? No hay.
¿Qué te va a jugar las 2?
I think they can see a piece of it, but can they do much?
Extension.
The extension, please.
That's a good look there, and maybe try to play the cross-side bank and send the cue ball at the 3-8, trying to maybe double kiss the 8 in or just make it naturally. Didn't mind it really, Michael. I mean, they were in a bad spot. They shook the balls around a little bit. I think the 8 did have a little chance of going.
Extension. The extension call.
Doesn't go to the lower right. So a bit more of a blind pocket. Makes it a hair more missable. We'll know pretty much immediately.
Spanish team just haven't been able to establish any momentum. Every time it's started to look as though they might have a chance to really get back into it, they miss a ball or something goes against them.
Tignan mo sa stop ball. Kung okay sa'yo. Oh, stop ball.
Now combination coming in a few shots, and be tricky to see how he wants to play position on it. The 9's kind of impeding the perfect path for it. Well, looks like he's going to come behind for the short side. Gotten perfect here. He can draw over or follow, it looks like. Probably draws the cue ball.
All looks pretty routine from here. And the Spanish crowd have all gone quiet again. I mentioned all that success that Chua had at quite an early age. He's had good performances in recent years as well. Quarters of the US Open a couple of years ago. Quarters also of the Asian Open last year, which was not far away from full matchroom level and will be this year. Got to the last 32 of the World Championship back in February in Poland. And the Philippines pair are finding success here. And they're now on the hill. They lead by 6 racks to 2. So Spain really need to come with something big now, Jeremy. Obviously, they're going to have to win the last 5 racks. It's hard to see anything like that happening on the basis of what we've seen so far, because, as we're saying, every time it looks like they're getting into it, they've started to make mistakes.
Yeah, early it was a couple of mistakes by the Philippines, James Aranas, that you could say they got away with a hair, and then, you know, when the doors did open a little bit, Spain just didn't complete the rack and had to play safe. Now hand it to Johan Chua coming with some big shots in this match, and right from the start as well. But now, I mean, they just got to, again, kind of clear the mind, pray for an opportunity, by the way. I mean, nothing says they have to get back to the table in this match being Spain.
The
and kind of free swing a little bit.
Leading by 6 racks to 2.
Philippines are here looking to be the first nation ever to win the World Cup of Pool 4 times. 1 rack away from moving within 3 matches of achieving just that.
Oh, James just...
Oh, watch the 9, watch the 9!
The Philippines
what a way to finish!
are winning the rack and the match.
And so, host nation involvement in the 2023 World Cup is over. They'll never forget that win against Saudi Arabia the other night and the atmosphere they generated here in Lugo. But hats off to the Philippines team. Yet again, they are in the last 8, and they will be contenders for that record 4th World Cup. They finish with a golden break, delivered by James Aranas. And the Philippines are through. They have beaten this Spanish pairing by 7 racks to 2.
The Philippines are through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup of Pool, and what a way to do it. A golden break by James Aranas as they beat Spain 7 racks to 2, which also means that the home nation is now completely out of the competition. Well, Carl Boys is alongside me, and Carl, there were a few moments there where it felt like Spain might come back into it, but ultimately this young Filipino side just too strong.
Yeah, it was all about the safety errors. I know it says 0 on your screen, but Spain made a lot of bad safety errors, a lot of bad decisions. Overall, Philippines were too strong. Before this tournament started, Philippines were 25 to 1. That was fantastic value. I'm sure a lot of the people over there have had a few bets on that.
Well, they were unseeded, weren't they? That's got more to do with the fact that they haven't been able to play in many big international competitions lately, rather than a lack of talent, perhaps.
Yeah, obviously the tour's growing, you know, more and more events are being added to the World 9-Ball Tour calendar, and obviously at some point these will definitely climb up the rankings.
Okay, well, let's hear from the Philippine team there, speaking to Jeremy.
Well, good win, fellas, and congratulations, quarterfinals coming soon. James, a few mistakes early, but Johan came with some big shots. You must love your partner.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, pressure's always got me. But I was happy that my partner is a superhero, so he can make all the shots, extremely shots.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes in doubles. Sometimes someone's slacking. Johan, how'd you feel out there? You played great.
Yeah, I played well today, and hopefully we can continue this one and we can keep this win.
Okay, a little time off till the quarterfinals, or how you feel? What are you going to do?
Still the same, eat, sleep, and pray.
Well, there you go. Good luck, guys.
Eat, sleep, practice, repeat. That's what you've got to do to be successful in these tournaments. Confirmation then of the score, 7-2 for the Philippines over